Good evening, everybody, and welcome to CSS. We are here for round 3. It's the Jeddah Corniche circuit for tonight. Thankfully, we have got just as much action for tonight as we have the last 2 weeks. But I am joined with a co-commentator for the first time this season, and that is Ollie. Ollie, welcome along to CSS. I hope you are doing well, and I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, thank you, Gareth, for that lovely intro. Yeah, very much looking forward to the race tonight. Obviously missed the first 2 races, unfortunately, but we're here for Jeddah. It's a fantastic circuit to race around, and especially commentate, Gareth. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're in for a fantastic race this evening.
Well, fingers crossed it will be action-packed, and knowing CSS as I do for the last 2 rounds, it's going to be incredible. I've put the wrong standings up on the screen. After round 1 is what we've got at the moment, but we need it after round 2. Which should be just popping up on the screen now. Perfect. There we go. Oh no, that's last season's. Oh, never mind. We'll forget about the standings for the time being. I don't know where they've gone. But Ollie, we're back on face cam now, so it's been a little while. We've known each other for a while through this, but it's your first time out here for CSS. What are you expecting from a team event like this?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously spoke briefly pre-stream, Gareth, and you mentioned how competitive the league is already, and I can only imagine that again this evening. And not only that, because it's obviously a team event, you've got to work together. Sometimes you don't have that when it's sort of single person leagues, but in this you've got to work together. So that's something that we need to consider going into the races, as do the drivers in the team. So I think that's something to consider going into this, and hopefully they work together. It doesn't always play like that. We've seen many times in leagues and in real life, so hopefully they do. But very much looking forward to tonight, and I'm sure, going off what you said about race 1 and race 2, they will have another competitive round for round 3.
Right, we're going to go on track now and have a look at what CRE Hops can do in the Alpine. And just a reminder to everyone through all this is that there is a change. No more. It's NVR now in the McLaren. They are the team that have replaced the McLaren. Well, in the McLaren team now. So they've got NVR Gabble and NVR Ballas, I think, the 2 drivers for them tonight. But CRE are in the Alpine. In the V-Carb car, you've got the FRT. In Williams is TTM, the current champions, and the guys leading the way at the moment. Shazua are in the Red Bull, FGE are in the Mercedes, BRT are in the Sauber, and FGE have replaced the team that was in the Mercedes before. Please forgive me on, I think that's ID. Ferrari in the XPG there, CRE in the Alpine, like I mentioned, and AMS rounding out, TRR in the Aston Martin rounding out the rest of the grid. But we are on board with CRE Hops as he's coming down the start-finish straight for the first time to set a lap time. Is it going to be a solid lap to set us up? It's a 1:27.9, which is immediately beaten by NVR Gabble. One definitely to watch, a very solid qualifying lap time. Let's see what Gabble's teammate can do. NVR Ballas, as he comes across the line, he's now pole with a 1:27.1. So the time's coming in thick and fast at the moment. Who else can we go on board with? The Treat. I'm just going to call him the Treat, who's gone into 5th place provisionally. A little bit further down, TTM, Alcin. He's invalidated. TTM Flow's in the pit lane. Mulder's on a lap time. It's good to see Mulder here. AMS Knight then, the Alien Motorsport team driver. He's not had the best of luck so far this season, but down the start-finish rate to set his first lap time. And it's going to be a 1:28.7. Wants to be a little bit quicker than that.
Yeah, again, Gareth, these are their first warm laps. Just want to get a time on the board, get used to the circuit. You know, tyres still fresh, circuit's still green. Sometimes you want to get that first banker lap in and get on the board. No one able to break the 27s just yet. No one just creeping into the 26s. But again, plenty of time, still just over 30 minutes left in this session. Still, the 5 or 6 drivers still yet to do their lap time. So still plenty of time to go in this session.
Just as a reminder of what happened over the last 2 events in, the same events, sorry, but on the PlayStation PC side. So Ren's got pole with a 1:26.7 on the PlayStation side, and Toppy picked up pole with 1:26.4 on the PC side. So that's kind of the markings that I think these Xbox guys will want to be looking at. But yeah, a few people unable to put a full lap in at the moment. Invalidations creeping in.
Yeah, Gareth, there are so many areas within the circuit that can cause an invalidation. We've seen it many a time. You and I commenting at the circuit, and one small mistake will cost you go wide, and that's you cutting across the tarmac and costing you a lap at this circuit. So the drivers have got to be really careful, especially going into the second sector here at Jeddah. It looks like we've lost a driver already, Gareth. Kieran, whether he's crashed or maybe had a penalty coming into this race, I'm not sure, but he will not be setting a qualifying lap at the moment.
It's unfortunate for the Aston Martin driver there, gone and done and dusted. And I'm just checking in the chat. Apparently there's a little bit of stream lagging. I don't see it my end, so I do apologise if there is. I can put the Tech Be Right Back screen up after qualifying is done and dusted, so people, so we can try and maybe sort something out. But we'll have to wait and see for that one. But TTM Flow is just about to come round the final corner here to set his lap time. This could be a major problem for a lot of drivers, because they'll want to do the DRS games, but and yeah, you know, we've seen that in the past, and not only in a real F1 but in league racing as well. But thankfully they have moved the DRS detection point to after the corner now, which should alleviate some of these problems.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen the basketball teams working together. Whether they do that this evening with the slipstream and the DRS coming down that main straight here in Jeddah, we'll have to wait and see. I haven't seen it just yet, looking at the board. No one working together just yet, but something to look out for. And then I think that's actually Flow with a purple sector 1 coming into the banked corner we have here in Jeddah.
Let's see what he can do. So through all this one, obviously the cars have been put off to so they don't get the slipstream not the slipstream advantage, but the major issues that can be caused with drivers following and going slowly behind someone. So it is easier for drivers to set a lap time through at the moment. But nearly everyone is out on track, apart from Mulder there, who is still in the pits for the Mercedes team. They're the FGE guys, able to put in a team at real short notice, which is great to see. But here comes Flow now, round turn 27. It's looking solid for TTM Flow, but I think he is just going to miss out a little bit on some of this. I think it might be a mid of 1:27s, and it's a 27.3. But his teammate surely could be on a good lap time here as he's coming down, and it's across the line. It's a 1:27.3 as well.
Yeah, great times from the Williams boys there, both within the 1:27.3s, aren't they both? But again, still plenty of time, Gareth, to improve that lap time as an Aston Martin going across the tarmac off strip there. But yeah, like I said, plenty of time left in the session to get a good lap time. I mean, I guess one thing they've got to be careful of, Gareth, obviously street circuit is traffic. We haven't spoken about it just yet. I know it's quite a large circuit, but there's still plenty of cars dotted about, especially in the fast ones. We've got a retirement from, who was that? Bobbitt's retiring. I think he's made a mistake through sector 1, and he's out the session.
Such a shame for Shizou. They need Bobbitt's to be at his absolute best, and at the moment 28.1 is not going to set the world alight, and he's going to be no higher than 12th position as BRT crowding just clips the wall there. BRT having a little bit of a struggle through all this, and BRT but need both their drivers to go and do an absolute solid. And at the moment, it's only Finbob that is doing a cracking job. BRT crowding struggling a little bit. He's yet to set a lap time. 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. And these guys that haven't set a lap time, it's well, make or break time, really.
Absolutely. You know, you could maybe get 2 laps in, Gareth, if you have a clean lap, no traffic, but you are leaving it to the very edge. You are risking other things coming into play where you don't have to. You got out on an early lap. So these guys at the back risking it. Obviously, that's Mulder and was that Paulos in 19th and 20th yet to set a lap time. But also, we went on another retirement, Gareth. Aranka has also crashed at some point, and he will start better than 14th in this race.
Detol does go a little bit quicker, but it's MVR Ballas that goes even quicker still. Taking the top spot from his teammate MVR Gabba there. Agonised, TTA Agonised, he's invalidated. BRT Crowding's just finished. PGR and Drea now in the RB cars, the FRT team, but he's invalidated as well. Detol, we know, has set a lap time. Bourbon Boy, can you do something? No, you're going into the pits as well. It's a little bit of a weird time in qualifying now where a lot of drivers have thrown themselves back into the pit lane. I'm not sure if Mulder and Paulos will be able to set another lap time if this isn't a good enough lap.
Absolutely. Again, Gareth, you've got to think about the traffic on circuit as Mulder does a 20... Oh, that was his open lap, wasn't it? Sorry. So yeah, you've got to really nail this, otherwise he can, like I said, and looks like he's invalidated already, Gareth. Coming through sector 1, he's got a red on the mini map, but the sector time's still going. I'm not sure whether that is him out to this lap.
Yeah, it's Mulder's done and dusted. The Mercedes driver or the FGE driver struggling to keep a car within the white lines, and that is crucial here. It's crucial everywhere. Keep it within the white lines and you can set a lap time. But a little bit more pressure on. Maybe he's going to recharge the battery the little bit that he used and go again, or he might throw himself into the pit. He's at least got enough time now to throw into the pit stop and set himself ready again. But what can the what can TAR Paulos do? Can they get themselves off that bottom step?
Yeah, well, he's already without a teammate at the moment. Guys, I think Kieran's having some technical issues. He has Paulos come through the first sector here, just going through a central overtaking point in the circuit, comes through left and right towards the banked turn at the end of sector 1. We'll see as he comes through sector 1. Nicely done. No invalidation so far for him, and he's got a first sector on the board, so hopefully he can continue on and get a lap on the board here in qualifying.
That's what he needs to do around the banked turn 13 into this just sweeping part of sector 2, and it's nice. Should be just gentle inputs apart from that bit there. It's just gentle until they get into turn 22, which is sector 3. This part is DRS open, of course, as he is purple, but that could just be purple for his timings. You can never tell with Codemasters and whether they've got the timings to the pole sitter or not. But Paulos is his lap time is the 126.9. That's the one to beat at the moment. Let's see if anyone TR Paulos can do it. He's not been a serial qualifier so far this season, but it looks like he's heading straight into the pits. He's just using as much of that cut-off as possible. It's a 128 to start off for Paulos, but there's loads of cars now on track, Gabble being one of them. Can Gabble do something? He is purple. He's he's a 10th up on this lap on sector 2. So what can he do through sector 3?
Yeah, he's only got one more braking zone left on this lap. Gareth, he comes into the heavy braking zone, going around the final corner. DRS will be, whoa, and that's a big old slide from McLaren. That's going to cost him a heap of time. Straight into the pits for the McLaren, and smashes that pit board. And reset for him, and try again for one more lap, maybe, just enough time for it.
We've lost Treat, and I think that's at turn 22 there, or 24. Not ideal for them, as let's see what Shazoo Venom can do. Currently a 127.7 for the Shazoo driver rounding the final corner. DRS should open up quite nicely here as he heads down the start-finish straight for another attempt at his qualifying. It's up into third place provisionally, but it's a 27-2, still a little bit off the MVR team.
Yeah, and unable to break that 26 barrier at the moment for him. Gareth, again, might have enough time just to go for one more lap on board with Flame, as he's down in 17th at the moment. Both the Ferrari boys, Gareth, struggling at the bottom as he crosses the line up into the top 10 for Flame. Great lap, 27.6.
See what Alcin can do now. The times are coming in thick and fast with 3 minutes left of the session. I say thick and fast, there's still plenty of drivers in the pit lane waiting for the final throw of the dice. AMS Knight and Bourbon Boy, two drivers that are still to set a lap time through all this. Actually, I think that's TTM Alcin throwing himself into third place through all that as well, which means that possibly CRE Detol, who's just slightly up on his time in Sector 2, now fighting his way through Sector 3.
Yeah, you can see him coming through that end of Sector 2 into Sector 3, guys, fighting the car, trying to hold it on the circuit. It's brilliant to see into the final braking zone for Detol here, millimetres away from the wall on the outside of the turn there. Straight lines it straight into the pits for Detol. Almost loses at the back end coming into the pit lane there, but should have enough time. Well, maybe, Gareth, maybe. If you can have a traffic-free lap, might have enough time for one more flying lap, but I'm not sure.
AMS Knight then currently a 128.2. A little bit of pressure on him. Final laps. This is it now for these drivers. No more drivers can, well, go back into the pits and set a new set of boots on. So this is it. This is the final throw of the dice for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I may have thought Detol could get around again, but I don't think he can, Gareth, like you mentioned. But Knight, he's down in 17th at the moment. He's a little bit of improvement if he can. His teammate is already out of the qualifying session, so he needs to do something for that Haas team. Down into Sector 1, and he's up by 2.5 tenths at the moment into this banked corner. Whether he can continue this speed coming around this lap, we'll have to wait and see.
Let's see what AMS Knight can do. It's the first of the final flyers here tonight in CSS in qualifying, heading through through Sector 2. It's looking relatively tight, using as much of the curbs as possible, as TTM Alcin has had enough. He can't do any more. He's in the pit lane, as there goes Flame as well, retiring from the session. But Knight still has just 3 corners remaining through this semi-last DRS zone, I suppose you could call it. This through final corner now, and down the start-finish straight for the last time. 50 seconds remaining. There's not much time left at all. What can he do? It's surely in the 27s. It is. It's up into 11th place.
Great lap from him, getting in and amongst it, Gareth. I know obviously only 11th, but that's plenty enough for him. He's in the top 11, and that, I'm sure, will be a hell of a lot better than where he was down in 18th previously.
Don't think Bourbon Boy is going to have enough time to qualify. 22 seconds. He might be able to get across the line and set a lap. He has done, so he's going to go again. Who would be? There's a couple of drivers I think able to. Is CRE Hops one of them? Let's see. Yeah, around the final corner now. He's up on his lap time, which is good. And down the start-finish straight he goes. A 127.9 for the time being. While I just quickly die, he has got himself up into 11th place. What can Gabble? Is Gabble the first drive? Gabble's invalidated, as has his teammate. So the 2 McLarens won't be going any quicker. Who else could be on a lap time at this pace? PJ Andrea, you're just a little bit further back. I'm going to stay on board then with Finn Bob for the time being. Has come through Sector 2 now. Up on his lap time, it's enough possibly to get himself into third place.
Yeah, there you go. Purple through Sector 2 there as he fights the car coming into Sector 3 here. Can he improve? Can he break into the top 5? It was, I think someone's just jumped up briefly there, but it'd be a bit of a jump if he can take pole off balance at the top.
Yeah, I think that's Flo that's thrown himself into fourth place. So it's MVR, TTM, Finbob for the BRT team. What they could do is second place is agonisingly close to Ballas, but not enough. BRT Crowding's throwed himself up. Mulder's throwed himself up as well into seventh place. An invalidation for Andrea. AMS Knight, I think, is just returning into the pit lane. So that is qualifying over and done with. Ballas is going to take pole, but it's not as quick as we were expecting with the other team, the other consoles and other and PC.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised at that. I know PC is a little bit quicker, usually, Gareth. It could be the game engine on PC, but yeah, quite a difference between them and PS. But who knows? It could be a number of reasons. But again, it's close between the top two and in a bit of a gap then to the rest of the drivers. But one thing as well as I do, Gareth. Quali's one thing, and race is a completely different thing altogether. So we can be as fast as you want one lap. Round many laps is a different story.
Definitely, and Gabor and Ballas will be annoyed at themselves because they invalidated their last runs, but they are going to be first and third for the NVR team to set their way for the evening. So let's have a look at the final qualifying positions then, shall we? As previously mentioned, Ballas on pole with Finbob in second place. On the second row of the grid, we've got NVR Gabor and TTM Alcin. TTM Flow will be alongside Shazoo Venom on the third row of the grid with Mulder and BRT Grouding in 7th and 8th respectively. 9th is Detto and Andrea is in 10th there. Then we have Paulos Flame, Treat, Hops, Knights, Agonize, Bobbits, Aranka, Bourbon Boy and Kieran Derry then rounding out the remaining drivers here. And before we go back to the camera screen, that's a little bit of a hint for you there, Ollie. We will just let us know in the chat who you think, who's impressed and who hasn't.
I think you're on mute, Gareth.
Oh, I'm on mute for you, but not for the stream, which is slightly unfortunate. But yeah, we'll head quickly back onto the cam screen shortly. We will go to the standings again, and just we won't go into the standing. We'll go to the calendar to remind you what the remaining rounds we have this season are, and that's obviously Saudi Arabia round 3. Round 4 is Azerbaijan with a mystery Grand Prix in after that with the Netherlands before we go for a break week. Then there's the Belgium Grand Prix, Qatar, Las Vegas, another mystery Grand Prix, Hungary and Japan. So there is going to be obviously a normal restart here as I will just mute that quickly. Ollie, what was your thoughts on qualifying for the start of this one?
I mean, competitive, Gareth, as we expected here. But I was surprised how close the top two were. There was less than 100th between the top two, which is brilliant to see. But again, qualifying is one thing, and a race, especially around this Gareth. We'll have to see how the race goes. Obviously, just resetting at the moment, but yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? Just have to wait and see. This race is always exciting to watch when it comes to the esports scene. So hopefully we get a good one this evening.
We'll wait and see how it will all pan out. But we are just going to go for a quick short break while we wait for the lobby to get restarted, and then we'll talk a little bit more about qualifying and what is to be expected from the season. And welcome back, everybody. And we are just waiting for the final few bits. Lobby has been remade, and we are just waiting for the guys to, well, pick their strategy, pick their setup. They've got plenty of, plenty of options to go with here. Lots of, wing changes. They might have changed the wings, or they might just change the setup completely from a qualifying one to a race one. Doubt we're going to get rain here in Saudi, but it is a possibility. Probably medium to hard medium. That seems to be a set strategy here on F1 24, I believe. I can't remember what game it is anymore. They all seem to be just a reskinned ones these days. But so first qualifying over and done with for Yoli. How do you find, or how are you going to think that these team aspects are really going to play into hands? Because usually when it's not a team aspect, they'll just go and do whatever they want.
Yeah, it can be a bit sort of gun-ho at times when it's non-team orientated, but they've got to think about it. They've got to think about the team championship. They've got to, they can't think selfishly in these races. If they can help their teammate in a way, maybe stay out a couple more laps. They've got a teammate in front, they can hold another team back. That's always something to contend with. You know, as you know as well as I, safety cars do happen at the circuit, and that could be a part of that. They don't want to come into the pits and delay their teammates or either. You know, a couple of things that the team's got to think about in this race. And I think the big picture, Gareth, and that's what they've got to look into for this race. So we'll have to wait and see. You know, safety cars are a usual thing at the circuit. So we don't like to see drivers retire, obviously, but it does happen at the circuit. So there's something they'll have to contend with, most likely, when we start this race in a couple of minutes' time.
Yeah, definitely. Safety cars, definitely something to talk about, and probably will talk about at the end of the stream. But PlayStation saw Ren's win after his pole on Friday night, and Saturday night it was Kanakinchi winning for TF10 as well. So ET8 doing well on the PlayStation side, and TF10 doing well on the PC side of things. Who is it going to be tonight, guys? In the chat, let us know. Is it going to be a TTM, a Shazoo, a PGR, not PGR anymore, MVR, FGE? Can they do something special here? But we are just about to go racing very, very quickly here and underway on 5 lights, and we are go. And it looks like a really good start from Ballas, and I think Gabble might even have a little run, but I think actually Finbob had a better result out of that. And up TTM Alcin doing a fantastic job and battling away. No major incidents yet, but there is plenty of 4-wide action.
Oh, there's a Williams around. Gareth didn't see which one that was, but a caution in sector 1.
It was Alcin. Just as I mentioned it, that was absolutely unfortunate for him, and I think that is front wing damage done for that Williams driver as well. And TTM Flow now attacking MVR Gabor as they head on down into turn 13. A little bit of a banking one, and I think it's all, there's a lot of 2x2 going on at the moment. BRT crowding, desperately trying to attack Mulder coming through here as well. As we just have a look at the position of the tyres that everyone is on, majority of them are on the medium compounded tyre as they head on down. Look at the Ferraris, XPG Flame, desperately trying to hold on to 8th place.
Yeah, it's side-by-side action, Gareth, coming through some of these corners, and I hope they all make it through nicely. They look, as they come into sector 3, all make it through cleanly, but now we have a big old train of Slipstream coming round these final corners to end lap number 1, and I'm sure we'll see a flurry of overtakes, guys. You can see them come into the final corner already trying to make moves.
And Alcin really struggling with the tyres and dropping away, but the two V-carb cars, FRTs, struggling at the moment as just defensive work throughout for a lot of these drives is Flo, but up into 4th place now. But he has, crucially, picked up a 3-second time penalty, and TTM all of a sudden are on the back foot.
Yeah, penalty already on lap 1. Gareth, he's defending for his life. I think it was through abreast coming into turn 3 there further back. But again, a penalty so early on is so crucial. That's going to cost him a lot of time later on in the race.
Gabble losing out to Shazoo Venom. Shazoo Venom now up into 3rd place. In the background, Mulder and crowding, and the Mercedes really under pressure from CRE Detol. It's all kicking off and flying off all over the place. Continuing battle, considering it's a street track, there is so much side-by-side action.
Detol, I think, on the outside through there, Gareth, had the momentum and managed to get past Mulder going through sector 2, and a great move from him, but it's so frantic, Gareth, in this in the early echelons of this Grand Prix. Into sector 3 they go, and everyone just about staying on circuit, but a back end stepping out there for crowding, and it could be Detol on the move coming into the final corner.
This is nuts, and Mulder trying to get back through. It's going to be 3 wide into it, you're right. I think Mulder's had to give way, but Detol up into 6th place, and I think there could be a change for the lead with Finbob catching Ballas as they head down the start-finish straight. In fact, Ballas is the fastest man on the track, but it's not. I think he's using a fair whack of ERS to get himself through there. Flame is getting himself into this battle for P6. And it's 2 wide, and I think that's the treat trying to come through as there's a yellow flag for something, and that's Ballas retired, and we've got a VSC. What has happened to Ballas? Because he is out of this Grand Prix. That is absolutely insane, and we are down to 19 drivers, but it's only a VSC out of all this, and not a safety car, which won't help TTM Alcin at all.
No, I think he's been kicking himself, Gareth, there. Early on, making obviously a mistake. Didn't see the mistake myself, but that's going to cost him a huge amount. Yeah, he'll be gutted. Absolutely gutted. And like you said, Alcin up down 20th, you thought, oh, maybe safety car can catch up, reset my race, but unfortunately, being only a VSC, that's going to cost him.
And we're just gonna quickly check the chat. I don't think some people are not particularly happy with it, but anyway, we will go on. And Shazoo Venom now into 2nd place, catching Finbob, and that is just, well, MVR coming into this race as a new team. That's not what they needed at all to have their driver. Well, it's just really unlucky as Aronka and ETA agonised, changing positions there in the background, and we will go just to crowding now to see if there's anything he can do to Detol just ahead. I don't think so on this occasion. It's possibly just behind, with TIR Paulos then battling away with the treat, and it's all a little bit, just a little bit touchy now. I think some drivers are maybe realising that there is walls quite close.
Yeah, it's one of those Grand Prix you think, oh, it's not that bad, but you know, a small mistake, Gareth, that's Aronka getting right on the back end of that RB. They're coming down towards turn 13, but you know, a small mistake costs you that front wing, and that's your race over with in these early part of the race here in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Alcin is desperate for a safety car to come out. 23 seconds behind Kieran, who is a further 2.5 in behind PGR and Rare there. We'll go back on board with the leaders because they are just rounding and getting into a tight DRS area now, which could mean Shazoo Venom could make a move to the lead. He's tucked up tight behind Finbob at the moment, getting a little bit of fresh air, just moving out into the fresh air to make sure the car doesn't overheat, and now sticks behind. Surely should make a move down the start-finish straight onto, well, moving on to lap 5.
Absolutely, the DRS is wide open on the Red Bull. He's going to go to the outside. He's not going to make it easy for him, Gareth, into the heavy braking zone, but actually he's got past before they even get there. Great move by Venom into the lead of the Grand Prix. Nice
and simple then. Really agonised, holding out on Aronka in the battle for P13 as AMS Knight is just pulling away a little bit just ahead. So they're 1.4 seconds. These two hard runners, they would have wanted to have been a little bit higher up. There looks like there's front wing damage somewhere. Someone, maybe there's front wing damage from one of these two. These two have gone a little bit far behind. Maybe there is some damage somewhere. I can't actually see if there is. No, there is on BRT crowding. There's damage to his front left end plate. He's going to be a little bit of a roadblock for Mulder behind.
Absolutely, Gareth. You know, especially in these fast sweeping corners. You can see him struggling. He has to dip into the curb there, coming through the middle sector, and this will allow Mulder to just claw him in bit by bit. But he's got to be careful because you've got Flame and Treat not far behind at all. So any small mistake was going to cost the drivers an immense amount of time. Oh, there you could see, Gareth, how much he'll be able to take a there we go penalty for him.
That's crowding. That's not great for him. Shazoo Venom trying to battle away with Gabble now because Finbob's down to 3rd place. And it is all kicking off, and a yellow flag now. And that's XPG Flame, I think, that has got an issue. And he's down now into 16th place. Not ideal for him, but the battle for the lead is Shazoo Venom just decide to stay behind Gabble a little bit longer.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, he's obviously helping him, Gareth, with the slipstream, but, you know, that dirty air effect isn't going to help. He's got Finbar right on his gearbox coming through the first sector. He's got to be careful he doesn't wait too long to make that move, but he's doing a little bit of time through this first sector. It's now up to half a sec behind the race leader, and Finbar, maybe other times, always a big old twitch from Flo in the background, and can Detol get past the Williams? I don't think just yet, but any small mistake, Gareth, going to cost him in this race. Absolutely, and Flo gets past Finbob in the melee there, coming to the final corner. Gareth as well, so moves from the Williams, and Finbob might be coming near his team as well as the race goes on, and Detol flies past as well.
The back of it's Detol there. Detol picking up a penalty for it. That is really, really unfortunate. But no front wing for TTM Flow, I think.
It almost like he missed his braking point coming into the first corner there. I wasn't sure what happened with Flo. Maybe distracted by, didn't expect Detol to get by him there. But like you mentioned, no front wing on that Williams, and it's going to be a long old day for Flo here with a pit stop inbound for him. Maybe he can get on to the hard compound tyre and go to the end, maybe hope for a safety car. We'll have to wait and see.
Crowding has gone into the pits to change his front wing. XPG has done the same. They're on hards. They'll go to the end of the Grand Prix pretty easily. But, yeah, not ideal as the virtual safety car is still out. They've got a little bit of a free pit stop, those two, I think. But... yeah, TTM Flow, that's so unfortunate, well, for him, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be, well, some questions asked.
Absolutely, but the race gets back underway, Gareth, and Mulder's going to have to close that gap now. It's 2 seconds. He's going to be stuck in no man's land here. The Mercedes driver's got to be careful, he doesn't get dropped by the front 4. Again, he's got to be careful of that group behind the looking racy with Paulos, Hops and Knight all racing away on those medium tyres.
It looks like ET8 agonised and Aronka just behind on the hard compounded tyres, just swapping position. Paulos and Hops aren't able to swap positions as well, as things all going off, and well, all fighting away, let's just say. Detol, well, keeping with the front drivers at the moment. And this is good news for CRE. They needed a good points haul, and tonight it could be on their way. 3rd and 7th place respectively at the moment between the two drivers, and they're doing a good job about it. But AMS Knight is all over the back of Hops, trying to get some sort of points off him. And Detol, obviously, with that 3-second penalty to his name, possibly could be coming off him come the end of the end of the race. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. It looked like I said, Flo misses breaking point, and it cost Detol had to cut the corner there. But we'll have to wait and see. But in that battle for sixth place, it actually looks like it's Hops that is more on the charge behind the Aston Martin. But that Aston Martin has closed in Mulder. He's still within the DRS window, so if he can just about stay within, he might be able to hold P6 for now.
Finn Bob looks like he's struggling a little bit, isn't it? He was up in that battle for the first place, and now he's thrown himself into the pits. It's because he's got a front end plate damage, so that could be why. Hops now, Mulder takes fourth place, and in the background you've got Aronka and Agonize battling away. EMS are having a good race from this as well. Other drivers having these issues and at these street tracks, meaning teams with the drivers that aren't technically going as quickly possibly could pick up more points because they're being a little bit more conservative.
Yeah, absolutely, Gareth. You know, it's not all about speed at times, especially on these street circuits. You can keep your nose clean, nail pit stops, not losing your places, get a whole host of points for the team. So it's important, especially like I said, your Azerbaijans, your Monacos, your Saudi Arabias, just to keep your nose clean and get a good haul of points for your team.
Let's see what Detol can do this time around as they come through Sector 2 into Sector 3 for the 9th time tonight. And yeah, it's looking very close to the back end of Venom. Venom looks like he's flashing. ERS is not at his advantage right now, and it looks like Detol could very well go around the outside of turn 27 to take second place. He's crowded out by Venom there. Venom not desperate to hold on to second place, but it could have cost him from Gabo ahead. Gabo's nearly a second in front, and Shazoo Venom has to concede the position this time, surely, and he has done. To Paulos then, is he going to take it? No, it's CRE Hops that goes up the inside of Paulos and now has gained 2 positions out of all that. He's up into 4th place.
Great move from Hops there, just biding his time, Gareth, and waiting for the right opportunity. Up into 4th for the and then that's Mulder at the World Grand Prix.
I'm not sure what's happened there. It is a full safety car for the first time tonight. But Mulder is out of the Grand Prix, and I just went on board with him as it happened. I think he's got too close to the corner at turn... was that turn 4? It could be. But that's...
It looks like, yeah.
That's Mulder out.
Yeah, lost his front left, Gareth. You know, we have seen mistakes from there in the past, and he was obviously battling with that fight for P4. Unfortunately, he's out of the Grand Prix now, and 2 retirements from this race already, Gareth, and we've only now just hit lap 10.
So, the drivers that are on the hards are going to struggle to get to the end of the Grand Prix on the mediums. I mean, it's possible, but it'll be very tight. But the medium runners now will throw themselves onto a set of hards and they'll go to the end of the Grand Prix. And CRE have done a very good job of this. There could be some serious points for them tonight. AMS as well. And even Bobbitt's thrown himself into 9th place has helped Shazoo with some points tonight, if it finishes like this.
Well, I hate to try and predict something in this race, Gareth, with what we've seen already, as Agonize almost crashed into the back of the Haas there. There's plenty more time for action, Gareth, as you know as well as I do. The race is not set just yet, as the cars are, or a lot of changes coming through the pits at the moment. But yeah, it could be some good points, like you mentioned, for CRE. That penalty may be taken off Detol in this race, so that could potentially be a double podium for the Alpine crew. But again, still a lot of racing still to do.
Yeah, and there's a few drivers that have got caught out by double stacking, and Bobbitt's is one of them. He's now down to 11th place. But the Ferrari XPG Flame didn't pit because he pitted to refresh his front wing just a few laps ago. He's now up into 8th. His teammate's 9th behind him. That's XPG up into some serious points tonight as well. But BRT 14th and 15th. TTM 17th and 18th. No one would have predicted this at this point in the race. Even with it being Jeddah, the Jeddah Corniche circuit and all the incidents, they probably wouldn't have thought that those two would be so far off at this moment.
Absolutely no. It's like we've said, Gareth. With these street circuits, it's unpredictable. We've seen how close these walls are, and it's so important keeping your nose clean. We've seen quite a few drivers just plodding along, doing what they're doing the right thing, and staying out of action, and they're doing well through that. So you wouldn't have predicted, like you said, seeing both those big teams near the bottom of the standings. But again, we're not even at the halfway mark in this Grand Prix, so plenty of time for them to catch up. But I'm sure some of the drivers who had made mistakes early on in this race are glad that safety cars come out, better a reset, and they can go again in this Grand Prix.
Now, the standings at the moment in time is TTM Esports on 89, Bunga Racing on 80, FRT on 65, Novus on 61, and Team Chazoo on 44, CRE on 36, XPG on 20, AMS on 20, TAR on 10, and FGE on 0. But that is all going to, with BRT and TTM so far down, that's just opened up a massive opportunity for FRT, and which is in the V carb, and the Novus. Actually, Novus have only got one driver. He was leading this Grand Prix, but that's a huge point of school. But it's opened up teams like CRE and Chazoo to really get involved in this tonight, I think. Into the season as well.
Absolutely. And Gareth, it's not a big season. It's 12 rounds. It's not a long season. What are we on usually in a standard season? 20, 21, 22 races? But they haven't got obviously loads of opportunity to claw these big points hauls. So, these teams, obviously TTM not doing well at the moment, that could cost them the season. It's really that short of a season. They've got to be careful and try and pull back some points if they can, even as 1 or 2. That might help the end of the season. So everything's on the line, and it's only round 3, Gareth.
It is only round 3, and plenty of action still to come throughout the season. And with Baku next, I wonder if teams will address the driver lineup and think, or maybe we should have a different driver in, because we'll have to. There's multiple drivers for each team, as it being a team event. So maybe we won't see Gabor and Venom next time out. Who knows? But the safety car is in this lap. How do you think Gabor will do this restart? Do you think it's going to be late or before turn 27 or after turn 27?
I mean, if I was in his shoes, Gareth, I'd probably be very stressed, knowing me if I was in this race. But if I was him, I'd leave it late. Try and minimise the amount of slipstream Detol gets down the pit straight. He needs to just make sure he gets round turn 1 in the lead of this Grand Prix, and then he can get. I'd say that though, he's gone early, Gareth, and I think he's caught Detol out.
He's caught Detol out, and I think he's caught the other CRE driver out as well. That's a very, very good start there from Gabor. Detol under pressure from Venom. Hops under pressure from Paulos. They've got a second gap to the rest of the grid. There's massive agonised and AMS Knight there battling away with XPG Flame just behind, but agonised going to use those mediums to his advantage, go as far up the grid as possible, and let's just hope that track position will be key. But I think Detol's managed to recover, and Venom is trying to find a way past, but I don't think it's going to be happening just yet.
No, not yet. I mean, we're still waiting for their DRS to be re-enabled, but they've got to be careful. They've already, Gabor has already gapped 7-8 tenths on second and third as they're battling away. So I know they're not on the same team gap, but they need to work together here.
Yeah, it's nearly a second. CRE Hops is under incredible pressure. How has he lost 1.6 seconds to the leading 3? I'm not 100% sure. And CRE all of a sudden are under immense pressure. Agonized is going to make a move sooner or later. Aronka's going to do it as well. Those medium runners definitely going to have the pace on them to start with. The mediums should get to the ends, but they're just not going to be very nice to drive at the background at the end of this race. And I see Bobberts and Flame trying to make moves as well. It's all kicking off in this group.
Yeah, it's an enormous group of cars, guy. I think we saw our first team orders as well. Aronka getting past Knight there on the medium tyres, but God, it's almost 3-4 abreast here. And there's a little bit of contact coming into turn 1. The Alpine and the Haas come together. That's Hops and Aronka there coming through turn 1 and turn 2. Both make it through, but the elbows are really out there coming through turn 1 and turn 2.
Definitely, and well, we don't want too much elbows because we've seen what it's caused in the... Well, we're not sure why Ballas and Moulders are out of the Grand Prix, but the drivers are still in. I think it was the TTM and BRT drivers. They've had their elbows out and they put their elbows out, and it's caused damage. Loads of drivers have had damage in this Grand Prix by someone just pushing the elbows a little bit too much. And let's hope for no more. Aronka then battling away with Agonized, and they're pulling away from Hops at a rate of knots at the moment, and this is what they need to catch up with the top 3.
Absolutely, they're on those medium tyres, Gareth. They need to utilise them when they can, but not push them too hard. You know, they may struggle near the end, and Aronka flying around the circuit. He's already side by side with Agonized, and through he goes before they even get to the final corner. Through he goes. I think a bit of wheel lock up theirs. It could be Agonized getting back at the Haas driver here.
Down the start-finish straight for these guys for the 14th into the 15th time, and Agonized gets past. And I wonder if these two are just trying to work together with the DRS and swap over and catch up to the top 3 again. Please, as TTM Flow is picking up a 3-second time penalty there, please bear in mind there is no safety car. It is just the glitch. We are back. We are still racing away at the rate of knots for these guys at the moment. But Gabo leads us away from Venom and Dettel, and this is a battle for 4th place as Agonized and Aronka are trying to catch up with the top 3. As plenty of action still happening, and in the background there's a few drivers, the BRT team, trying to get back into the major point scoring hall.
Yeah, they have been swapping positions here and there, Gareth, but if you're both Thin Bob side by side with Treat here, the Ferrari ahead has got a bit slow side by side action through this middle sector. Just about both make it through. Great racing from both the drivers, but the Ferrari was slowing them down. Through they go towards sector 3, the second BRT driver trying to get involved as well. Hopefully it doesn't end in tears. Oh, it does, and that's the Mercedes losing his front wing. Treat loses that front wing, and I didn't see exactly what happened there, Gareth, but that's him. Well, he's lost his end plate, and that could be race over for Treat.
That's not... Oh, wow, it's really unfortunate. I just think they went too hot into the corner, and a little bit of contact, and that's all that matters, and then it cost you there. Hops dropping away from these two again, but I think Thierry Paulos has get back past, which means they're back into the DRS range of Agonized and Aronka. But Agonized and Aronka aren't catching the top 3, and they are supposedly on the faster tyre.
Yeah, I mean, it was 1.7 going into this point on the last lap, so they lost. Do I say that though? They've got it back to 1.7, but they're not closing the gap, and that's the key thing here. Especially on these fresh medium tyres, they need to utilise them the best they can, and they're not closing the gap down quick enough to really utilise these tyres. They need to do something different, maybe, or just, I mean, literally, it's silly, just go faster, Gareth, to catch up with the top 3.
Definitely need to do something to get through it all, but Venom now all over the back of Gabble after Gabble's great getaway from the safety car on lap 13. Agonized and Aronka swap positions again, but Venom now trying to get back into the lead of this Grand Prix, but Gabble's doing a very good job of holding station at the moment. Dettel just waiting in the wings, I think, at the moment. Agonized and Aronka 1.7 seconds behind this battle for the lead.
Yeah, Gabor really good coming out of turn 23-24, Gareth, and it's given him enough gap so far. I don't think Venom is going to be able to catch him just yet coming into turn 1 and turn 2. But it's biding his time, Gareth. Try not to use his tyres too much here, and stays in second for now.
Bobbitts goes up around the outside of Hops as he now makes it up into 7th place here tonight, and now has his eyes set on Paulos, who is 1.3 seconds behind Agonised. And Bobbitts, a race of what could have been possibly after losing the front wing a little bit. Ronka picking up a penalty there, and Bobbitts deciding to go a little bit off-road as well, and now might have problems with Hops behind. I don't think Hops is going to be able to make the move, but yeah, some of these drivers on the medium looking to lose a little bit of grip in certain areas.
Yeah, he's starting to see it, and surely it's far too early for the tyres to start falling off just yet, but you can see Bobbitts struggling a little bit under the pressure of Hops behind him. And it's not just Hops, Gareth, it's Knight and Finbob involved with this battle together.
Agonising and Ronka swap positions again, but now they're 2.1 seconds behind Dettel. It's dropped way off again. It's now half a second, maybe even more than half a second between them as they head into turn 27. But at the moment, Hops can't find a way fast. Bobbitts, let's go back up to the battle for the lead, because it's less than half a second between the three of them. To the inside goes Venom. He's surely going to take the lead of this Grand Prix. He has done. And he's going to, with relative ease there, as Agonise gets past Arunca as well.
Yeah, they could be working together, Gareth. I'm not 100%. They are swapping positions under DRS areas, but they're not catching, like you mentioned. It's up to 2.1, and they need to try and work together a little bit better. I know it's difficult when he's not your teammate, but to try and catch up with the top three is crucial.
Definitely is. It's now back down 1.8, so maybe the battle for the lead has helped them rein in some of the time, but it just doesn't seem to be the way at the moment. Paulos catching them up as well, slightly, so it could be that the hards are the race tyre to be on right now. We've just over 7 laps remaining. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to take victory. Is it going to be Venom, Gabor or Detto? And then obviously the team aspect of it as well. Let us know who you think is going to claim the most points tonight as well. But Ollie, as things stand, it's got to be one of the top 3, surely.
Yeah, it does. As they're getting ever so close once again. Gathers Gabor trying his best but waiting. But at the moment, yeah, I think so. Is any one of Venom, Gabor or Detol, unless something substantial happens with them losing time, it will be one of the top 3. But Gabor going for the lead here, and he takes the lead back off easily and simply past the Red Bull, and it seems that they're just swapping positions to try and gap the cars behind, Gareth.
TTM and BRT. Finbob's gone absolutely wide, and BRT were looking at 9th and 10th. Now they're looking at 9th and 14th. Finbob has had an absolute nightmare there. I'm not really 100% sure what went on. Just looks like he's gone straight on, from my opinion, but he could have had a little bit of contact with his teammate. But that's something you never want, especially in such a high profile team event.
Absolutely. You want to keep the team's name in good stead, and having contact with the teammate does not help at all, Gareth. They need to work together here, and now, like you mentioned, crowding in 9th and Finbob in 14th, not helpful whatsoever.
Let's have a look at Detto. Can he do anything at the top? I don't think so. It's just evened out, isn't it? It's 2.2. It gets as low as 1.6, and then it goes as high as 2.4. But it's it just seems like two separate trains we've got going on. The battle for the lead and the battle for 4th place.
Yeah, and if anything, Gareth, I think it's Hops and his train that are going to catch Agonise and Arunca before then, as you can see Paulos getting past the Alpine there, just defending as much as he can there, Hops, but decides to let the position go for now. But like I said, I think the fight is the top 3 and then 4th down, all the way down to I think that could be all the way down to Andrea down in 13th. Yes, it is.
And Finn Bob and I mean XPG Flame and Bourbon Boy, they were up there they were 9th and 10th at one stage, and now 15th and 16th. So the Ferrari team, the XPG team, really unfortunately struggling through all this. Let's go to we're in it, so we might as well go to the top and see what the battle is going on for the lead of this Grand Prix. At the moment, it's Gabble and Shazoo Venom still the drivers to beat. But Detto just holding on and waiting for, if there is an incident, waiting to pick off the pieces.
I think so, guys. You say that, though. He is very close to the back of Venom coming through 23 and 24. Then he finally, I say he gets a pop, but the lead, but still not close enough. I think, like you mentioned, he's just waiting for a mistake from the top two here. But this is the closest they've ever been, Gav. There could be three abreast coming into turn one.
This is insane. It's three. Well, they're side by side. This is a great camera angle. Gabble's down to third, and now Detto leads this Grand Prix for the first time since the safety car. And all of a sudden, actually, it could be the first time of this race, as Detto pulls away, and Shazoo Venom Gabble had nothing. I think that they weren't expecting him to, well, go for it, and I think Detto has put all his ERS into this to try and pull away, as Andrea's retired from the session, and that could be a VSC, and Detto's attempt to pull away has been thwarted because of that.
Yeah, it looks like Andrea's hit the wall, Gareth, coming into turn 4, just like Mulder did, unfortunately, and that's another car out of this Grand Prix. Down 17 drivers here in Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately for Andrea there, hopefully, obviously, he can come back stronger next week, but another VSC here in Saudi Arabia, Gareth. This is the third I think we've had now, third or fourth.
Third VSC, I think, and a safety car. So it's
yeah.
Well, you mentioned at the start we'll be talking about this at the end, and I think you're right about that.
Yeah, it's to be expected, isn't it, at a street circuit, especially one with such fast flowing corners. The smallest of mistakes, Gareth, puts you in the wall, whether it's a wheel or a front wing. It's so important to keep focus, and it can be a stressful race. You got to stay focused the whole way, just like a Monaco, Gareth, where you can't relax at all until you get on the straights, really. As Kieran's got a drive-through penalty for speeding on the VSC. That's not what you want as we get back up to racing speed here with 3.5 laps remaining.
And that was almost a perfect getaway from Detol as well. 9/10 of a second to Venom behind. He could break that second gap. He's going to push it, but I think Venom's going to push as well. Bourbon Boy retires on the start-finish straight. I think that's a very odd place to retire there. What's happened to him? I think Kieran is popping into the pits, maybe to serve, maybe to retire as well. He could just decide enough's enough. But for the lead of this Grand Prix, Datol's decided to push, and it could be crucial.
Absolutely, he's got more battery than Venom here, but Gabor's got 86% left in the tank, so he might utilise that coming into the final couple of laps here in Saudi Arabia. But those gaps are increasing, Gareth, and if Detol can nail this next couple of corners, he could be outside that 1 second window.
0.8 of a second at the moment. It's at the tightest part of this track, but Venom has found the DRS and found a little bit of wing to go with it. But it's a mistake through that section of the track that's allowed Gabble to come sweeping back in, and that could give Gabble a little bit of impetus in this race and get him the bit between the teeth and go for the lead of this race, and that is exactly what he's done. Detol trying to hold up the inside, but Gabble now leads on lap 22 of 25, going into lap 23 of 25. Detol's going to attack back and have the lead of the Grand Prix again.
I think Detol played that card perfectly, Gareth. I think he slowed down ever so slightly to let Gabble through, unless he was just Gabble flying with his extra battery there, but takes the lead back off the McLaren with 2.5 laps remaining of this Grand Prix. Can he hold off Gabor and Venom? It's going to be a difficult one. More yellow flags, and I think that there's Finn Bob retiring from the session as well, Gareth, in the pits, unfortunately, for the BRT team. But Detol still leading away, Gareth.
Bit of lock up there coming to 13. The stress is building, Gareth. He's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders.
He has done indeed. I'm not 100% sure why Finn Bob has retired, because he was in a point-scoring position. It points us down to 15th. That seems like a little bit of a rookie mistake for Finn Bob. He had a chance for BRT. 1 point could be crucial come the end of the season. But Gabble, Crowding picks up a 3-second time penalty. And Gabble is, well, applying the pressure on Detol. And he's got 2.5 laps to, well, try not let the pressure get to him.
Absolutely. You can see Venom trying to get through as well, and I think Detol might let them both through here, but he hasn't allowed them through. I don't think Gabble wanted to get past. I think he wanted to stay within the DRS window as that opens up, and through goes the McLaren, through goes the Red Bull as well, and that's Detol back down to third in a matter of seconds, Gareth.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the way. The penultimate lap of this Grand Prix sees Gabble lead the Grand Prix. He's had that title for the majority of it. And that is where he wants to finish at the end of it. Hakanized and Aronka have done a fantastic job of keeping those tyres in the shape they are to keep ahead of Hops, who's still 2 seconds behind in 6th place. As, still baffled by Finn Bob's decision to retire to allow the Aston Martin of Kieran to pick up and tee up, more importantly, a crucial point. Gabble has put the, so to speak, hammer down. He's 0.7 of a second clear of Shazoo Venom at the moment, but he's now flashing the light to try and keep all DRS. ERS, sorry, to his advantage on the last lap of this race.
Oh, a bit of a mistake there from Gabble from my camera angle there, guys. I think the back end stepped out, but just about kept it on circuit. It cost him a couple of tenths then. The Red Bull and the Alpine closing that gap once again with the GS wide open. And on to the penultimate lap they go. Detol and Venom fighting away as well. Not sure who really wants to take the lead here, but with that contact between second and third, it's allowed Gabble to create a little bit of a gap.
Flame picking up a penalty, a bit meaningless there, but Detol will take second place. And don't forget, if he's kept it clean and had no more stewards warnings or whatever in the race, the driver warnings or whatever you want to call them, and he could get that 3-second time penalty removed because he was punted off the track by a TTM driver. This is all heating up a little bit. He's got enough to take a podium position anyway. But Gabble, at the moment, 0.5 second clear of this battle. It is really heating up, and I'm not sure which way it's going to go.
It could go either way, Gareth. Gabble's made a mistake, and he's in the wall, Gareth. Not Detol and Venom straight on through. No damage to the McLaren, I don't think, but a mistake on the final lap coming through Sector 2. Not Detol into the lead of the Grand Prix.
Gabble and MVR, more crucially, will be kicking. It just felt like he pushed a little bit too hard and the back end just stepped out on him, and that is mental. That is insane. And all of a sudden Detol is in with a real good chance of winning this one. Shazoo Venom though will want it. He's going to hound him until they get to turn 27. Is he going to go to the outside? He does. Is he going to get pushed out wide? He's going to, Detol is going to try. Is a switchback grip going to be available? It's not. Venom is going to have to hold off and for the time being be second place. Detol wins it, and Gabor will come home in third place. Aronka and Agonize battling away for the, 4th and 5th position there. But Ollie, with the driver still coming in, that was an insane end to this one.
Yeah, I thought it might be like that, Gareth, with how close the top three were. You couldn't split them. You could put a piece of paper between them, and they were that close near the end of the Grand Prix. And that small mistake by Gabor coming round 13 has cost him a heap of points there, and that could be what splits the teams at the end of the season. But great win by Detol. Whether he holds that with the penalty he had earlier, I'm not sure, but on track he did cross the line in first place. Great racing. I mean, Gareth, you can't lie, the top three were great, but the whole grid was great. Plenty of great racing, and I wish we had 2, even 3 different cameras on the drivers could really show what was happening throughout the whole grid.
Yeah, there was so much going on, wasn't there? And just couldn't keep up with it through it all. But a great drive from them all. And if Venom has, well, if there is the penalties sticking to Detol, then Venom's done a good job. Gabble definitely, and MVR will be kicking themselves, and especially with the retirement to the other MVR car as well. But at the moment, it is points, maximum points there for Shazoo Venom. Exactly what Shazoo needed to take advantage of other people's faults, if that was the case. But it's Venom, Gabble, and Detto on the top 3 of your podium this afternoon. And unfortunately, it's saying, oh god, there we go. Agonised in 4th, 5th to Hop, 6th. TTM Alcin in the end, after a torrid start to this Grand Prix, managing to get up to 6th place. 7th to Arunca, TRO Paulos in 8th, 9th to Knight and ESV Bobberts in 10th place. Then it was Flo, Crowding, Treat, Flame and Kieran Derry rounding out the points finishing, and then non-points because they didn't finish to Finn Bob, Bourbon Boy, Andrea, and the other 2 drivers, Baulos and I can't remember the first driver we lost. But wow, what a way to end this one, Ollie, as we go back through that. Actually, I'll let you gather your thoughts, and I'll go through the grid, or not the grid, the calendar one last time. And it's Britain and Italy have been done. We've just completed the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Next week we travel to Azerbaijan for Baku, and that is going to be an absolute, well, if tonight is anything to go by, an absolute incredible race. But Ollie, your first time CSS, crazy racing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I expected a good race after obviously what you said in race 1 and race 2, Gareth, and that played up exactly how I expected. A great race, great racing. Some controversy there as well with what happened with Dettel and Flo with the contacts. Drivers unfortunately losing out with the safety cars, mistakes with Mulder, Andrea obviously making mistakes that costing them. So, and even Finn Bob, obviously he was in the points and decided to retire anyway. You know, it's small things like you mentioned that will cost them in the long term. But great race, thoroughly enjoyed, and I looking forward to next week already.
BRT are going to be, well, maybe an investigation going in internally for BRT for why they allowed Finn Bob to retire in the point scoring position there. We will wait to see if there was anybody that wants to come and say hello to us from the podium positions. But, well, I mean, it might not have been as quick as the PlayStation or PC side for qualifying, but they definitely put on a race, didn't they?
Absolutely, and I think regardless of what platform was, you know, they could be going 4 or 5 seconds slower, but they can still provide a great race, and that's what they did. You know, Jeddah is known for its overtaking. Well, I would say it's known for it down the main straight. It's known for it, and we saw 3-4 breast at times, Gareth, coming down into turn 1 and turn 2. And it's so difficult to overtake anywhere else on the circuit. So to try and hold your car, a couple of meters behind, drive in front and still going, 210 kilometers an hour around the circuit, it's nuts. So, I mean, well done to every driver who finished, because it is a long race. It's stressful. It's difficult. I'm glad I'm sat here in the box rather than on the track, and tell you that right now. I mean, well done to all of them. And they provided a great race. I can't ask for more than that.
Definitely not. We hope you've enjoyed it. It doesn't look like anyone's going to come join us, Ollie. So, well, final words from you before we round up the stream.
Well, I mean, thank you for everyone who tuned in this evening. I'm sure you can probably say that before you finish. But yeah, it was a great race. Look forward to next week, and hopefully we have all the drivers back once again. There could be some moves, like you mentioned, Gareth, with some of the controversy we had this evening, but hopefully we get another full grid next week and at Azerbaijan and have another great race, hopefully.
Fantastic. There we have it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be back next week for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And if anything like tonight is to go by, it's going to be very, very entertaining. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Good night.